So today we are going to talk about the Quad in the Indo-Pacific, and we are also going to talk about why ASEAN remain cautious about the idea of the Quad. Why the ASEAN remains cautious about the idea of the Quad. Now we know that Quad is a short form of quadrilateral. India, Japan, Australia, and United States, they have renewed their quadrilateral cooperation in the Indo-Pacific. And there are suggestions to expand the Quad into Quad Plus grouping, in which these four countries, India, Japan, Australia, and US, must include the countries from ASEAN nations. So observers say that the potential of the Quad and its sustainability are hinged on the response and support of partners around it. Southeast Asia has been gaining attention in the recent years owing to China's conduct in the South China Sea. And this region also forms the main arc of the China's One Belt One Road or the Belt and the Road initiative. So Quad is seen as a platform for the promotion of a joint venture which can circumscribe the rise of an assertive and hegemonic China in this particular region. And Quad for India is seen as a platform for the promotion of its Act East policy, which is the cornerstone of India's engagement in the Indo-Pacific region. At the core of Act East is the ASEAN region, and its importance was clearly shown when ASEAN-India commemorative summit was held in January. So, if it is merely another extension, this Quad, if it is merely another extension of a great power rivalry occurring at the expense of at the expense of ASEAN or at the expense of the interest of ASEAN, if it is merely another great power rivalry, then these countries, ASEAN, may not be very much keen. They may not be very much keen to join. And there are many multilateral mechanisms already in existence in this particular region. We call them as East Asia Summit, ASEAN Regional Forum, the ASEAN Defense Minister Meeting Plus, and the Indian Ocean Rim Association as the potential platforms for dialogues with the countries of the Indo-Pacific region. So the main aim of the Quad is to enable regional security architecture. If this is the case, then they already have a number of institutions that I have just spoken. The primary objective of ASEAN Defense Ministers Meeting Plus, ASEAN Regional Forum, East Asia Summit, all of them, their main aim is to enhance the security dialogue. So the ASEAN countries, they may not be very much interested. But the ASEAN countries will be very much interested if these Quad countries will offer them some kind of collaboration which will strengthen the maritime cooperation to promote mutual trust and confidence to ensure security, peace, and stability. This includes ensuring freedom of navigation and overflight. If the great powers such as United States of America or the middle powers such as Japan, India, Australia, they come together and they support these ASEAN nations and strengthen their security architecture, then ASEAN countries will more than be interested. So in this lecture, we are going to scrutinize whether the Quad will indeed push India's Act East policy or not, or whether in this particular Quad, the ASEAN countries will be perpetually interested or not. And USA was looking for ways and means to strengthen and bolster its presence in the ASEAN nations. It was trying to make an Asian NATO, and this Asian NATO could have been not possible in any other place except this burning area because of assertive China. So, after the first quadrilateral meeting, however, no formal agenda was released, nor a date was set for the next meeting. And four countries, they had a fear of irking Chinese sentiments. So cracks started to begin. The first country to leave the Quad because of Chinese pressure was Australia. As many people amongst us, we know that Australia's economic boom and Australia's material prosperity comes from supplying the raw materials to China. If Australia is in the top 15 economies of the world, then thanks to China, who keeps purchasing all the Australian raw material. So, the first country to show crack and drift towards China was Australia. And then pressure were stepped up on the Indian border, which is unsettled with China. And so Manmohan Singh, he thought very correctly that instead of getting caught into a contestation due to a maritime exercise, it is better not to provoke the China, because the other countries may not be located in the vicinity as India is located. And so we will have to bear the brunt more. So the second country to come out of this idea was India. Now, these countries, they also came out, and the first Quad meeting collapsed because Chinese at that time were not this much assertive. They were not this much assertive as they are assertive today. And US, it was also seen as trying to engage with China because of the global financial crisis. The United States of America also needed the Chinese investments, and that is the reason the Quad collapsed. However, in the recent years, since 2015, Chinese aggressive claims and assertion of its sovereignty claims in the South China Sea and on the disputed borders have increased. And Chinese are frequently using their economic coercion and cyber espionage. And Chinese are also indulging in predatory investments under the guise of One Belt, One Road. So now there is a greater concern. There is a greater concern for these four countries. Especially the greatest concern is coming from Japan. Given the decline of the US influence, Japanese, they say that United States of America, as the days are passing, may not be able to meet a heavy military infrastructure. And USA has its priorities in other areas of the world. So USA may withdraw or become disinterested from the ASEAN region. They have an interest in Syria, they have an interest in Middle East, they have an interest in and around Russia. So they may withdraw from this ASEAN region. And if US withdraws from the ASEAN region, and if US loses its interest, that day the Chinese may become more assertive.